Good day. My name is MEIYA, and thank you again for joining us in these conversations that we're having every week about some of the principles and fundamentals of finance. Today, I want to talk to you about cash. For many years, or many a times, we've heard the word that cash is king. Is cash king? Well, I want to tell you that cash, by its own way, is not king. But cash flow is king. Now let's look at the difference between the two. Let's look at the difference between cash and cash flow. Cash could simply mean that is the cash or cash equivalent amounts of money that you have or the business has. Now, I'm predicating my assumptions on the fact that we don't necessarily operate a cash-based entities or cash-based businesses. So each and every time that there's an exchange of risk and rewards, a transaction has happened, even though cash has not yet exchanged hands. It doesn't mean you haven't generated a revenue simply because you haven't received cash. If we then look at it from that point of view, can we then still say cash is king? I think cash flow is king because the survival and the backbone of the business, it's its ability to constantly and continuously generate positive cash flow. In fact, when you look at entities that look into buying other businesses, what they look at the possibilities that this entity in future will generate positive cash flows. Let's use a different example. If the entity is to engage in a particular project, one of the drivers of whether this project will be taken or not, it's looking at the project's ability to generate cash flows into the future. So cash flow is king, not cash. So how do you make sure that you've got a healthy cash flow in your business? What are some of the arguably simpler strategies or things that you need to be looking at, especially during economic hardships? How do you make sure that you maintain a positive and a healthy cash flow in your business? Firstly, it's important that you understand the cash cycle of your business. Put it differently, from the minute that has been an exchange of risk and reward, that is the minute the service and or product has been given to the client, how long does it take for you to generate the cash that should flow into your entity? So it's important to understand the cash cycle in your entity and how cash should be flowing into the entity. Now, some of the two critical indicators that you might want to monitor and measure with reference to cash flow could be the days it takes for you to pay your suppliers. Why is that important? It's important because for you to pay the suppliers, it means it's a cash outflow out of the entity. This is the measure otherwise known as the days in payables. So you just want to know, given the arrangement, the contract that you have with your suppliers, what is the minimum length of time you are expected to pay in your suppliers? The other side of the similar coin, it's the time it takes for your client to pay in your services. So if you're rendering a service today or you're rendering your product today and you've dispensed the invoice, How long is it going to take you before you actually receive the cash that flows from that transaction into your entity? Now, when you bring the two together, the time it takes for you to pay your suppliers or day in payables, and the time it takes in for you to receive cash from your clients or day in receivables, you always want to make sure that you've got a shorter receivables period and negotiate for a longer payables. Let's put it differently. If you render a service today, your service level agreement with your clients is to have the services paid for, let's say for an argument's sake, in 30 days. So in 30 days, you should be able to receive the cash for the services or the products that we've rendered to your clients. But you negotiate with your suppliers so that your payment terms are at minimum 30 days, but best 30 days plus. Let's say for an argument's sake, you negotiate with your suppliers that you will pay in the services in 45 days. By just playing around with these two indicators, you receive your cash on day 30th, you are able to keep it for 15 days and earn an interest on it before you pay to your suppliers. So cash in by itself is indeed not king, but comprehension